Hello, welcome to Info Hub. In our headlines, today is World Radio Day. Public awareness campaign on the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy underway, and post offices being rehabilitated to house ICT hubs. Stay tuned for the details of these and more.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
And now for the details. Here's our first report. Guyana joins with the rest of the world to observe World Radio Day. Gabriela Patram tells us more.
Being observed under the theme Radio and Sports, Prime Minister and First Vice President Moses Nagamootoo noted that radio has played and will continue to play an integral role in all societies.
I send greetings on the occasion of World Radio Day. I'm the Prime Minister of Guyana, and my background has been one in journalism in Guyana, in the Caribbean, and in other parts of the world. I understand the importance of recognizing radio in the world and the role it plays, particularly in areas of sports and culture. Guyana is a very large country geographically, sitting on the shoulder of South America, and in fact, as a gateway that could be accessed through the Caribbean to the rest of the South American continent.
Prime Minister Nagamootoo noted that this year's theme is a fitting one given the development of sports in Guyana.
As regards the role of radio in the area of sports, I believe that perhaps that is the greatest of the innovations, when we can have people throughout the country who otherwise could not have access to television or to cell phones or to other means that is perhaps common in a small island. Not in this vast Guyana, 83,000 square miles, pristine jungles and savannas and wetland and mountainous areas, all beautiful, of course. We needed radio. And we see throughout Guyana people glued to their radio.
To date, 5 radio stations have been established by government in Piomac, Madia, Mabaruma, Lethem, and the latest being in Bartico. 2 more will be established, 1 in Ishalton and 1 in Oriella, and these are slated to be commissioned this year.
Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
Ronetta LaFleur tells us that the government is undertaking a public awareness campaign on the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy. More in this report.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich stated that his ministry is in discussions with relevant agencies and ministries to embark on public awareness initiatives. This disclosure was made during a recent NCN radio program. This is critical, he noted, because too many Guyanese, particularly young people, are not knowledgeable about the issue.
The interest of the public does not seem to be where it should, and where it would have been a few years ago had this happened. And that is as a result of both the things you've mentioned. I think a lot of the older folk who are actually aware of the issues are perhaps now a little sated. Yeah. And many of the younger folk, alarmingly, are unaware of the significance of this issue.
The long-standing controversy started during the second half of the 19th century between Venezuela and Great Britain over the location of the border between its colony of British Guyana and Venezuela. In 1962, Venezuela unilaterally and without any basis or evidence announced that it regarded the award of the 1899 as null and void. Minister Greenwich stressed that all Guyanese must be well informed of the facts surrounding this controversy.
In 2016, contracted an entity to do a film for the Learning Channel. That fell through. These are amongst the things we have to do. But it has to be an undertaking tackled from many fronts.
The government has set aside US $15 million for legal fees in this regard. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
The reconstitution of the Police and Public Service Commissions are currently before the Parliamentary Committee on Appointments, and the approval for the University of Guyana Council to be granted by Cabinet today. Details from Stacey Carmichael.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon, updating the media recently, said that the reconstitution of the Police and Public Service Commissions are matters that are currently before the Parliamentary Committee on Appointments.
Once that is completed, it is then sent to the National Assembly, the floor of the Assembly, which approves of it, and then it comes to the President for appointment.
Further, the minister refuted claims that at least 2 senior officials of the Guyana Police Force entered the force using bogus qualifications. Minister Harmon reasoned that there is a high level of scrutiny for entry into the force.
At the level of police officer, though, I can say that there should be some great degree of scrutiny at the level of the entry level, because most police officers come through what is called the ranks, starting from constable coming up. Some of them have actually benefited from a direct entry process, which means that they are appointed as cadet officers and they are trained at the cadet school, and so that they enter at the level of cadet officer. Then they become an assistant superintendent going up.
During the process, Minister Harmon contended that there must have been checks to determine if an officer has bogus qualifications. In addition, the State Minister disclosed that the reconstitution of the Council for the University of Guyana has engaged the attention of the Cabinet. He said some concerns were noted and will be addressed by the Minister of Education, and it is anticipated that once those concerns are addressed, Cabinet will today give its approval for the new council. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Stakeholders are being trained for the implementation of revised food-based dietary guidelines locally. Details from Delicia Haynes.
The Food and Agriculture Organization has collaborated with the Public Health Ministry to train stakeholders to develop strategic training plans for the implementation of the revised food-based dietary guidelines. FAO's Assistant Representative for Administration, Danraji Madre, pointed out that these guidelines should be Guyana's blueprint for attaining food and nutrition security.
Smart partnerships are essential if we have to address the current food and nutrition security challenges and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We have to work together to educate, promote, create awareness, establish policy, legislation, and other systematic approaches to enhance healthy eating and appropriate lifestyles that are conducive to good health and to reduce the burden on the public purse, and more so the burden on families.
The hosting of the Trainer of Trainers workshop has been recorded as a timely one, as it is engaging stakeholders from all sectors who will facilitate the implementation of the revised food-based dietary guidelines. Director of the Chronic Diseases Unit, Dr. Kavita Singh, noted that this could be the first step towards preventative measures against non-communicable diseases.
The food-based dietary guidelines will be one of those cost-effective interventions that we'll be actually implementing as it relates to preventative methods against NCDs.
Over the next 2 days, stakeholders will be equipped with the requisite knowledge to oversee the successful implementation of the revised food-based dietary guidelines. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
The Prison Officer Management course for vulnerable prisoners has ended. Stefan Gabriel brings us that report.
Prison officers are now better equipped to manage vulnerable prisoners following the conclusion of a 1-week training of trainers program. Acting Director of Prisons, Gladwin Samuels, said that there will now be increased capacity to handle vulnerable inmates across the prisons nationwide.
We've had a number of 10 prison officers exposed to the 1-week training. They were drawn from the 5 prison locations. Basically, what that will serve to do is to ensure that capacity is built at all of the locations, because outside of the 2 ranks that would have received training from each location, they will then go back to the location and offer, impart the knowledge gained to the other staff. While it would not help them to be specialists, At least it will assist them to be able to better identify persons who are deemed to be vulnerable, taking into consideration the various definitions thereof, and have them assigned the necessary care that they would need in the prison.
Samuels explained that the training is among several interventions agreed upon with the British government for assistance to build capacity within the prison service.
Basically, in 2017, negotiations between the British High Commission and the prison service commenced as it relates to ways in which they can offer assistance to the prison service in terms of building capacity. Coming out of a number of recommendations that were submitted, we eventually decided on two. One is to deal with vulnerable prisoners and the other one to deal with leadership. Both of those training programs commenced, and the one for vulnerable prisoners would have concluded. That was a 5 days training done by a consultancy firm from Trinidad in collaboration with a trainer from London.
According to the director, the prison population currently includes approximately 80 vulnerable prisoners placed at various locations across the country. For InfoHub, Stefan Gabriel.
The National Drainage and Irrigation Authority is set to take over maintenance of drainage and irrigation systems from Gaisuku. Here are the details.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Frederick Flagg, said that some systems are already in place for the agency to take over from the reorganized Sugar Corporation.
We've received some additional money to carry out those works. And so we've had discussions with Gaisuku to that end, and shortly NDIA will take over that responsibility.
He added that the NDIA is also striving to have a smooth transition of workers from Gaisuku to the agency. He added that there's not likely to be any further redundancy of workers.
The way we've discussed with Gaisuku is that at least for the first, we'll have to depend upon Gaisuku to assist. For example, with the pump stations, we do not want to go there, remove all the men and take new men. So virtually you'll have the same people. So for the first, it makes sense to continue to use the people who are employed by Gaisuku. And I suspect it's the same thing will happen with the drainage, or with the drains, the canals, the structures. It's the same thing I think will happen.
The Guyana Sugar Corporation, throughout its years of operation, has played a strategic role in the maintenance of drainage and irrigation canals, which link several communities and provide irrigation across the coastlands of Guyana. With its reorganization, many were concerned about these canals being left to become clogged and dysfunctional. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Post offices to house ICT hubs. Leticia Isaacs has our final report.
In embracing the government's mandate, post offices will facilitate ICT hubs within their parameters. These hubs will provide a conducive environment for engagement and allow members of the community to efficiently utilize their services. The GPOC, at its annual press conference yesterday, unveiled its work plan for 2018. The organization aims to rebrand and reinvent local postal services. One of the main projects for 2018 involves the rehabilitation of post offices to install computers and Wi-Fi for residents to use as ICT hubs.
So many post offices were not renovated over the years and are in a totally dilapidated state. In some places we're going to have to pull them down because it makes no sense to try to refurbish, an old-fashioned design.
So far, several community centers and locations with appropriate facilities have been used to facilitate ICT hubs instead of post offices because repairs had to first be done at dilapidating post office buildings.
GPOC plan to fully computerize all departments and post offices and also acquire suitable software to meet our business needs. To date, 54 of our post offices are computerized.
Recently, the 91st ICT hub was opened at the East Ranville Community Center ground. There are plans to open more than 100 before the end of 2018. For InfoHub, Leticia Isaacs.
Please note that on February 15, you can check out the Pan Miners Steel Plant competition at the Theatre Guild and the children's competitions at the National Cultural Center. Check our website or Facebook page for more details as we bring you updates on Republic Day and Mashramani activities. Thank you for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.